Well, folks, we have explored the Big Cypress Preserve and the Everglades National Park down in Florida. And we've been staying at Collier Seminole State Park, which is about 10 miles north of here. And we're at the first visitor center north of Big Cypress, and this is the kiosk here. One of the things I just realized was that this is probably a better campground than we have been in. It's Monument Lake. Up the road from it is Burns Lake, and that's a all primitive campground. It has pit toilets and stuff. Monument Lake has showers, so a little bit nicer. This area way down here is a dump station. I don't know what kind of camping. I think that's I didn't get that far. This right here is camping for volunteers, and it does have a big dump station that's open to anybody to use, I believe, because all the volunteers are on full service. But there's dump stations there, and we're still exploring all this here, so we're going to be going into that area. But this is a pretty neat area, but it tends to be fairly homogeneous of just swamp, marsh, and lots of trees, lots of birds, big white birds, big black birds, big little green birds, all sorts of birds. If you're into birds, and the birds are pretty tame to be talked to, and you'll see the pictures at the end of the video. And we're going to cut our trip down here short. Mom's having a heart repair, and so we're going to head back up there and see how she's doing, and then head on home to visit with my son. So we'll see you on the road. Give me a thumbs up, a share, a like, subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you on the next video. Okay, what's happening here is that I'm doing the video backwards. That was supposed to be the ending, but instead it's the beginning. We did go into the visitor center and looked at some of the stuff. And these are the fishes that I see everybody fishing. Everybody's fishing along here. It must be fishing season, but those are the fish. And then if you go outside, there's this beautiful boardwalk, and all these fish are in the canal right outside the boardwalk. So I guess there's a lot of fish to catch. So I guess that's one of the reasons everybody's fishing. This particular visitor center is at the end of the Florida Trail, which if you've watched Homemade Wanderlust, a trail they just did through Florida, it goes the whole length of Florida, so it's pretty cool. The big attraction, I think, to the Everglades is the birds. They're everywhere. These were just vultures sitting on the road, and there are canals all through the Everglades. They tried to drain them at one point, so you can see the canals, and you can see the nesting platforms that they put up for the ospreys and the eagles. This pair was courting and sharing a fish and rearranging sticks, and I'm sure they'll have a nest with some young up there in another month, but we didn't stick around for that. But there are a lot of neat birds everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's some kind of a bird making some kind of a noise that is a little different. Now, this is a flicker. I'm pretty familiar with these wild trees that I couldn't tell if it was a tree with vines on it or if it's a tree that was a vine. And turkey vultures and black vultures were everywhere, and so are these little green herons. He was everywhere. Got a couple of pictures of him. It amazes me that I can take a beautiful picture like this and my camera will focus on the spider web instead of the birds. And one of the stops we had mangroves, and the mangroves revealed a manatee. A couple of manatees actually floating around out there, but it's hard to find them because they're all underwater. I was told it was a little early for alligators to be bellowing, but as you can see, there were some bellowing. That is their mating call, and not to leave the flowers and plants out of the equation here, but there were a lot of really nice plants. We also stopped at some of the National Forest campgrounds. This is Burns Lake. It has backcountry access if you're hiking into the woods or something. Reservations are required, and they're pretty full. This is the setup. It's just a road where you park on the side. You don't have much space. We stopped at Monument Lake. That was a little nicer. It has bathrooms and flush toilets and stuff. This is the prices and some of the other campgrounds along the Everglades that you might want to check out. Well, folks, that's a seriously cut up and edited view of my exploration of the Everglades park. The Everglades is a huge area that's cut up by all sorts of different municipalities and governments and stuff, so it's pretty hard to figure out where you are and why. This is a example of a video being done by somebody who's on the very edge of dementia. Between worrying about what I'm doing about my job, what I'm doing about the channel, what I'm doing about Mom being in an operating room, and worrying about alligators eating Aquila, my brain was not clicking to do a good video. But I figured I'd share this with you because it is a pretty interesting place. There's a lot of, I mean, it's kind of like being in the middle of a zoo. You get to see a lot of stuff, and I wish I'd had more brain power to use at the moment to really enjoy being down there. I'm definitely going to have to go back because there's a lot of stuff that I've got a list of things I want to see that I didn't get a chance to see because we were kind of rushing in and out, and I didn't realize that you can't drive into the Everglades. You can only hike into the Everglades, which seems a little crazy to me since there's alligators in there. The best thing to do is take an airboat. There's several different airboat companies, and they're all different. People have told me that you take a different one each week and you'll see the whole Everglades pretty nicely. But there's internal Everglades airboats and there's external Everglades airboats. So there's ones around the coast. You go down the coast of Florida, wherever Florida's coast is. But some of them go around the coastal area, and some of them go along the interior of the Everglades, which is, you know, they're both different. So it's pretty neat. But it's a nice area, and one of the things about the Everglades is that it's completely different than it was 200 years ago. You know, it was a huge cypress swamp, and they cut down all the cypress because it was such good wood to use for boats and masts and stuff like that. And cypress trees grow for 300 to 400 years before they're fully grown and matured. They're extremely slow growing. And so while there were no more cypress there, they decided to grow sugar cane there, and so they burned down most of the Everglades and put canals in to drain it to make it farmland. So what's there now is pretty wild in that it's not anything like it used to be, but they're trying to bring it back without hurting all the rich people that own all the land that's farmland now and sugarcane land. So a lot of that gets snatched up when prices of sugar go down and they don't want to make sugarcane anymore. But it's an interesting area. Thanks for coming along. I'm sorry this is bad. I've got a little video I'm going to put together and make it maybe Sunday or Monday to follow up on this. And I've got some big news coming within the next week or two, so stay tuned. I'm going down, we're getting the trailer ready right now to go down and look at some potential additional trailers. We're not getting rid of the A-liner. I love the A-liner. It's just got some serious work and love that it needs, and I don't want to be off the road long enough to do it. So I'm going to kind of put it away, and well, I'm going to use it this summer. It's going to be seriously going all the way to Maine and back this summer, and then I'm going to put it away for a year or two and do some other stuff. And I'm going to try to be working on it while it's put away and get it back to full duty, full shape. And then I don't know what I'll do with the other one. But we're going to get a slightly bigger, slightly nicer. And we'll see if by some odd chance it grows to accept more people or pets or something. So a lot of changes coming. Just stay tuned. We need to grow this channel a lot within the next 2 years, or I'm going to have to give it up because it costs too much, and I don't have any money anymore. I'm broke. So thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. I need every subscriber ever had viewed a video, and look at my playlist for more interesting stuff than this. Thanks for following me. Thanks for coming aboard. I hope to see you on the road. Thanks, folks. Bye-bye.